everybody. I hope that you enjoyed your small group sessions. We are going to move forward with the next part of orientation, and that is a talk on professionalism by Judge Acosta. And after that, we will have convocation. So with Judge Acosta, here's a brief bio. Judge Acosta earned his undergraduate degree from the San Diego State and his JD from the University of Oregon School of Law, class of 1982. After graduation, Judge Acosta worked as a litigator and trial attorney in both state and federal court, eventually becoming a partner at a major law firm in Portland. In March 2008, Judge Acosta was appointed to the federal bench and sits on the United States District Court for the District of Oregon as a magistrate judge. Judge Acosta is a great friend to the law school and a committed mentor to students and new lawyers alike. He's also a tireless in his promotion of professionalism and advocacy for diversity in the legal profession. Judge Acosta.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. All right. I'm here to talk about professionalism. I have about 20 minutes, correct, Nicole?
About 15.
15, okay. All right. You are about to embark on a career of great privilege and great responsibility. You're going to soon begin the process of becoming lawyers. What makes lawyers different from other professions? We are the only profession empowered to protect the rights of every citizen. We ensure the rights guaranteed by the Constitution are given and are protected, and we maintain and perpetuate the rule of law. Lawyers have fought for and achieved equal treatment of all persons based regardless of race, gender, religion, disability, national origin, color, or sexual preference. Lawyers have ended legal segregation in schools. Lawyers have established the right to counsel in criminal cases. Lawyers have won marriage equality. Lawyers have ensured accountability of government officials who use their offices to violate constitutional rights. And your legal career started this week, not when you graduate 3 years from now, not when you pass the bar a few months after that. It's hard to know this now, I appreciate that, before you've sat even in your first law school class. But among you right now are judges, law firm partners, general counsel, clients, U.S. attorneys and state attorneys general, state and federal public defenders, and yes, clients. Professionalism is not ethics. Professionalism is different from ethics. Ethics is a set of rules that lawyers must follow. They must follow those rules. They must do what the rules say they must, or they must refrain from doing the things that the rules say they may not do. And if they don't, they will get a vacation from the practice of law, sometimes for the rest of their careers. Professionalism is different. Professionalism is a set of aspirational goals. What we would do if we knew our mother were watching us. Professionalism is not officially or formally enforced by the bar or the Oregon Supreme Court as the rules of ethics are. Professionalism is enforced in a different way. It's enforced by your peers. What do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. If your reputation for professionalism is poor, if you're not considered a professional, a civil, a reasonable, respectful lawyer, you may not get the opportunities that you see many of your peers getting. You may not get that judicial position that you keep putting in your name for. You may not get that plum client because the client has heard unfavorable things about you from other lawyers who have dealt with you. You may not get that job that you really, really wanted to get, whether it's in-house or with a public entity or any place else. Why is that? It's because your peers have circulated your reputation as an unprofessional lawyer. What does professionalism mean? How is it different from ethics in that way? It means, among other things, these things. Keep your word. If you give your word, keep it. If you can't keep your word or give your word, then don't give it. But don't mislead the other side. It means agreeing to disagree agreeably. It means extending professional courtesies. It means don't let the other lawyer control your behavior. These are things that are not guidelines, are not rules to think about that I thought up one day as I was thinking about things to tell new law students. These are things that I experienced as a lawyer myself, usually because I made these mistakes. So hopefully my experience will help you avoid making some of those mistakes as well. Being professional also means writing professionally. Almost always, your written work product is the first impression that anyone gets of you in the legal profession, and it is the basis for your credibility with the court and other lawyers. As a young lawyer, I was told by a partner with whom I was working on a case, half of what we say is because we're the ones saying it. Think about that. If you know that your written work product will be well received simply because it's you who's written it, that makes you an effective lawyer for your client. It makes you a formidable opponent to opposing counsel. Why would we be professional? What's the benefit? Why shouldn't I be a junkyard dog or a scorched earth litigator or a Rambo litigator? Well, here are some questions for you to think about. First, do you want to be a cage fighter for the next 40 years? Next, how does professionalism or the lack of it affect your personal quality of life? Beware of adversary creep into your personal life. Here's a story I like to share when I talk about these things. The story is this. My daughter, who's now 33 and just had our first grandchild, and who also is a lawyer, when she was 5, she and I were in her room and we were doing something, picking up toys or playing a game or something. Completely unprompted, she suddenly turned to me and she said, "Dad, when you yell at me, it makes me think you hate me." Now think about that. Think about that. That was a wake-up call for me. When you go to the office, wherever that office might be for whatever employer you have, and you spend 8, 10, and sometimes 12 hours a day being a junkyard dog or an unreasonable you-know-what, and then you think you can go home and be the person you'd like to think your dog thinks you are, that's not going to happen. It will not happen. That's one of the benefits of professionalism. And there will be challenges to maintaining that professionalism because other lawyers will not necessarily be professional. And that will tempt you to respond in kind. Don't do that. That's the first step to not having a good quality of professional and personal life. Why be professional? What kind of clients do you want to have? Do you want to have clients who want to hire a junkyard dog litigator? No, you don't. Why? Those are the clients who complain about what you've done or what you haven't done or your bill or don't pay you. Those are not the clients you want. There are also career implications. When you apply for the bar in this jurisdiction or in any other jurisdiction, however the question is phrased, there'll be a character and fitness component that has to be filled out and that will be investigated. Professionalism bears directly on your fitness and character to practice law. Professionalism also is important because it maintains and encourages the public's confidence in the integrity of our profession. Those of you who are familiar with either the book or the movie version of To Kill a Mockingbird know that Atticus Finch in that story was a hero of sorts because he stood for the cause of justice and for what was right. About 15 years ago, the American Film Institute did a survey of the top 100 heroes in American film, and Atticus Finch was number 1. Atticus Finch, a lawyer, not a doctor, not an engineer, not an accountant, and not John Wayne or any role he ever played. It was Atticus Finch. That's how the public wants to see us. And let me say a few things about lawyer jokes. Those who know me know that I have a pretty good sense of humor and sometimes quite irreverent. Most of the time, humor is what gets you through tough things. And I used to be as good as anyone else telling lawyer jokes, but I stopped about 5 or 6 years ago. And here's why. Jokes about socially unacceptable things aren't just jokes. They serve a function of normalizing that unacceptable thing, of telling the people who agree with you that, yes, this is an okay thing to talk about. When you tell lawyer jokes, you perpetuate certain stereotypes about our profession that encourage people to believe that that is actually who we are, and it isn't, and it isn't who we should be. Finally, I have a couple minutes left. Just a few comments that don't necessarily relate to professionalism. They're these. I call them survival tips. First, none of you have had a law school class yet. Many of you, if not all of you, to some extent, are scared and even terrified of law school and what it represents. Guess what? You're not alone. All of you are. Some people won't admit it or they don't talk about it, but they still are. I was. I still remember my first law school class in August of 1979, 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I was the first one called on in class. Yeah. So yeah, everything kind of went downhill from there. So it's okay to be scared. Everyone is, and everyone who ever was a first-year law student is scared. Second, remember, you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. Next, keep a healthy perspective and keep healthy habits. Whatever you did in undergrad or have done to keep yourself balanced and mentally and physically healthy, keep doing that in law school. You'll encounter many opportunities to not do that. Resist that temptation. Keep yourself mentally and physically fit. And finally, self-care is the key to getting through your first semester. It's very important. Eat healthy, get a lot of rest, do something every week for yourselves that you enjoy doing that has nothing to do with the law, and stay positive. Oh, and remember to breathe. All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you, Judge Acosta. We always love hearing from you during this time of year. So next, we are going to play a short video from our President Schill, the president of the University of Oregon. He had a message of welcome for you. Dean Espinola, do you want to do that? All right.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure today to welcome you, our incoming law students, to the University of Oregon. You are all embarking on an incredible journey that will transform not only your careers, but it will transform how you think. It will equip you with all of the skills and the knowledge to be our next leaders, our scholars, our attorneys. This is a unique time in the history of our nation, and also it's a unique time in terms of where we are right now for you to begin your legal studies. It is required, I know for many of you, the uncertainty of COVID-19 has required a high level of resilience and determination. I am impressed with how you have adapted, how you have persevered in getting to where you are now. Those skills, that resilience is going to serve you well in your legal career or whatever career you embark on after law school. Now, the transition to law school may seem sort of overwhelming at times. I was a first-generation college student, and I know firsthand how daunting it can be and how in law school, you look around the room, each of you is going to think that all the rest of you are smarter than the one who's doing the looking. And in reality, you're all in the same boat, right? This is new for all of you. And I'll tell you, I have been dean of 2 law schools, and I've been president of the University of Oregon. And when I used to meet hundreds and hundreds of alumni when I was dean. And I would always ask them what they thought about law school and what was the most memorable part of law school. And without a doubt, they all said their first year. They said it was the hardest year of their entire life, but they also said they learned the most in that 1 year than they've ever learned before and that they ever learned since. So you all are really getting ready to begin an experience. Now, you're going to have plenty of support. Marcelin Burke, your dean, is ready to help you. You have a whole set of staff people, advisors, they're all your professors. Everyone wants you to succeed, even though at some point you might sort of say to yourself, oh, why are they after me for the answer in this class? They're after you for the answer because they want you to dig deep. And they know that by digging deep, you will learn the material and you'll be better lawyers. Now, again, you're starting at an odd time. I want you as much as possible to connect with your classmates, to get to know them, to take all the opportunities possible in law school. At the beginning, when you're separate, it's going to be a little more difficult than when you all get together. But one of the most important things about law school are the enduring friendships that you're going to make. And the folks today will ultimately be many of your colleagues in the future. Now, lastly, I just want to make a comment about lawyers in today. You all are our next generation of lawyers. Your contributions and your perspectives matter more than ever. Our world is grappling with issues that have been deeply woven into the fabric of our society. We need you. We need new blood. We need new thinking, whether it's race issues, whether it's issues of social inequity, whether it's the ethical issues involving technology. All of these issues are things that society needs lawyers for. So when I said at the beginning, you're our leaders, you're leaders of the future, I meant it. And you all have that opportunity, and I'm really glad to welcome you to the University of Oregon. Go Ducks.
All right. So we were pretty excited to get a message from the president of the university. You may not know, but he is also a member of the law faculty. This is his official department. Our next speaker is going to be Dean Marcelin Burke, Dean of the Law School, as well as the Dave Frohmeyer Chair in Leadership and Law. Dean Burke. Where is Dean Burke?
Thank you, Dean Commission, and good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all again, and thank you, Judge Acosta, for those remarks. I always want to tune in because I get something every year too, so thank you so much for that. So I want to start out again by saying how glad we are that you have chosen Oregon Law. And on Monday, as I said, you are embarking on the most wonderful of journeys. And I gave you some practical tips on Monday, right? And what you probably maybe will remember from all of that is to pee 5 times a day, right? To plan, to prioritize, to practice, to publicize. And then that 5th P, as Judge Acosta said, is to find something that energizes and motivates you, whether it's to pray and meditate, to play an instrument, to pamper yourself, whatever it is. You need to make sure that you hold on to that as well. And I ask that you work very hard and apply yourself 100%. Now today, I'm gonna make another ask of you. And today, I want to dare you. I want to dare you. Now, education here at the University of Oregon School of Law is gonna open the world to you in ways that you cannot even begin to imagine. As Judge Acosta said, it'll give you a seat at any table, whether it's in government or politics or business or world affairs, law firms, public interest groups, music, sports, entertainment, food and beverage, healthcare, you name it. This experience will give you the chance to go there. Every endeavor of human origin will benefit from the knowledge and skills that you are about to acquire. And you will be leaders, whether or not you're in formal positions or not. And we are so fortunate to have the Frohmeyer Leadership Program at the law school that all of you can take advantage of. And we are here to help you become even more effective leaders because you're already leaders, in fact. So what's the dare, right? Of the more than 1,100 people who wanted to be where you are today, you are the top 15% who made it. So I dare you to take full advantage of this awesome opportunity. And I dare you to be courageous. That doesn't mean that you won't be afraid at times. What I'm asking you to do is to continue on in the face of that fear. And I dare you to disagree and to change your mind. Talk with people with different backgrounds and different perspectives. Resist the impulse to gravitate only to those who are like you or who feel like you or who've had the same experiences as you have had. Dare to speak up in the face of injustice. And I say that wherever it occurs and on whatever scale you may encounter it. It could be speaking out about all that's going on in our world, or it could be speaking out about how a classmate has been treated. Or it may be about some policy at the law school or the university. Speak up in the face of injustice. Next, I dare you to listen. Now, this is a tough one for me because I love the sound of my own voice. Yet I find that I am much more effective, much more efficient if I stop and listen and try to understand and appreciate others' perspectives, others' stories. I dare you to think for yourself. And through this education, you're going to be equipped to digest difficult text and to assess complicated situations. And when I say think for yourself, I don't mean don't be influenced by others. Rather, I ask you to be demanding and ask for more than just implication or inference. I demand you to ask more than you can get from social media. Dare to think for yourself. And I dare you to feel what you feel and acknowledge the validity of what others are feeling. I think this dare is particularly important right now. We've heard for months, right? We're all in this together, right? But we know that we're all experiencing different challenges. And so I dare you to feel what you're feeling and acknowledge the fact that others may be feeling something different. I dare you to act. Don't be a bystander when you have something to offer. And don't worry that you can't solve the entire problem. Sometimes what we need in the face of challenges is just for one person to take that first step. And finally, I dare you to be yourself. We spend a lot of time talking about how law school is different, and it certainly is. But remember, we admitted all of you because we believe you have what it takes to succeed. And remember what I said also on Monday, that it's going to take everything you've got to succeed. So I dare you again to give 100% to this endeavor. Now, a word about convocations. Convocations, by definition, are just large ceremonial gatherings. And many of you may be familiar with convocations at the end of the educational journey, that they might come before the commencement ceremony. But we're having a convocation at the beginning of this journey to set the stage for what is to come. Now, at commencement, the president or the dean stands up and says something like, "I confer on you the degree of XYZ with all the rights, responsibilities, and privileges." We think a lot about those rights and privileges. But what I want you to think about now are the responsibilities. In general, your responsibilities here are to take advantage and make the most of your time here. To use the knowledge and skills that you're about to acquire to change the world for the better, to drive change. And thirdly, to help ensure access to justice and to this education for future generations. Yes, you are in fact the chosen ones, the ones who have been chosen and who have chosen for themselves to experience all that Oregon law has to offer. And again, we are so thrilled that you're here. I'm sure you're familiar with the expression, to whom much is given, much shall be required. And from them to whom much is entrusted, much will be asked. This education has transformative power. And as Spider-Man's Uncle Ben said, with great power there comes also great responsibility. You'll be free to take this degree and do wondrous things in the world. This freedom that you will have is a responsibility as well. Now, I know I put a whole lot out here on the table for you, and at times it will be exhausting and exasperating. And yet we are confident with the help of the faculty, staff, alumni, friends, and other students that you are up to the task. And I promise you that we will all be better off for you doing these things. So I beg of you right now to summon all your courage, your good judgment, your integrity, and your dedication to this journey, which will last a lifetime. Indeed, I dare you to lead the way. I dare you. And go Ducks. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Dean Burke. It's always inspiring hearing your words to the incoming class. All right, our next speaker is Judge Mooney. Judge Josephine Mooney earned her undergraduate degree from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and her JD from the University of Oregon School of Law. She worked as a civil defense attorney in Eugene from 1988 until 2005 and served as a director of risk management and organizational integrity for Peace Health from 2005 until 2011. She was appointed to the Lane County Circuit Court bench in 2011 by then Governor Kitzhaber. And she served on the Lane County Circuit Court until 2019 when she was appointed to the Oregon Court of Appeals. In addition to being a great lawyer and judge, Judge Mooney has served the Oregon community in many ways, including as a member of OGALA, the Oregon State Bar's LGBTQIA+ Bar Association, as a member of Rainbow Rascals, a parenting group for Lane County family members with lesbian and gay parents, and by mentoring innumerable law students and new lawyers. Judge Mooney. Somewhere. She was here a minute ago. Did we lose Judge Mooney? Oh. She's muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Hi, Judge Mooney.
Well, that's not a good way to start. Good morning. Well, thank you and welcome all of you to the University of Oregon School of Law. As I was preparing to speak with you this morning, I was thinking back to 1985 because that's the year when I hopped off the Greyhound bus at the station downtown in Eugene, ready to start law school. I was 23. I had all the hope and spirit that a 23-year-old could have, so much so that I bought a one-way ticket only. And the truth is I had not much idea what I was really getting myself into, but I was excited. And like each of you, I had worked very hard to get to that point in my life. Somehow at that point, I knew that it was my time. Just as I stand here looking at you now, and I know that this is your time. 1985 was also the year that I came out as a lesbian. It was the 80s and I was in the Midwest and I wasn't exactly sure how that would go. but I had a lot of friends tell me that Oregon was a place where I could go and hold my head up high and be whoever it was I wanted to be. And so I got off the bus and I've been here ever since. I approached law school in the way that I approach everything that's new and challenging in my life. I have a mantra. It's not elegant. It's not fancy. It's just, I just have to figure this thing out. I just tell myself, I just have to figure this thing out. And that's where I go. Oregon law provided me with the opportunity to do just that. I did figure it out. And it gave me a career beyond my wildest dreams. It was, in fact, a perfect fit for me. And it will do that for you as well. It will do that for you as well. You follow some notable Oregon law alums. To name just a few, Martha Walters is currently the Chief Justice of our Supreme Court. Federal District Court Judge Ann Aiken. You've met Federal Magistrate John Acosta. There's also Magistrate Mustafa Kasabai. Oregon's current Attorney General, Ellen Rosenblum. 5 of the 13 members of the Oregon Court of Appeals, including myself, all attended Oregon law, and any number of trial court judges across the state. You sit today where I sat and where each of those alums sat at some point. For me, it was 35 years ago. Well, it wasn't exactly where you sit, right? I sat in a classroom with students and faculty in a little law school that was across the street from the Oregon bookstore on the corner of 11th and Kincaid. If you had told me then, if you had told me even last year that you would be doing orientation in law school remotely through something called Skype or Zoom, which I'd never even heard of, I would not have believed you. But everything is new and different today, right? I mean, everything's changed. We have restrictions today that we never had before. The number of COVID cases seems to be going up. The number, the different groups it seems to be targeting is expanding. People are out of work. Your law school education is going to be different, and it has to. But here's the good news. The good news is that you're here. And all right, you may be on a monitor, but you're here. And that's very important. It's incredibly important because justice requires that you be here. Justice requires that we carry on. It won't wait for a more convenient date, and it will not withstand a gap in the next generation of lawyers. The courts in the state of Oregon are functioning with COVID. At the Court of Appeals, we conduct oral arguments remotely. In fact, this morning, I'm, as we speak, in oral arguments. So I logged off and logged on here. The chief judge slipped in for me. So the arguments are continuing. And when I'm done speaking with you this morning, I'll log off here and go back, and nobody will ever have noticed a difference. And so we can do this. The lesson here is that everything is different, but it's 100% doable. I want to applaud you and I want to thank you for being here. Honestly, I'm going to tell you I'm a little bit jealous. And the reason I'm a little bit jealous of you isn't just for your youth, but because the flip side of attending law school during a time of uncertainty is that it's times like this that demand creativity, that demand that you think outside the box. And when I say uncertainty, I'm referring to how things are going to look once we get a handle on the pandemic. Because I'm absolutely certain that you and we will carry on, right? The courts will stay open and we will serve the public because we have to. How we do that is what's changing. And the next generation of lawyers, which is you're being trained in the COVID era. You will have incredible influence about what the new normal will look like. It's very important. It's very promising, and that's why I'm just a tad bit jealous of where you are today. Remote, in-person, or some other combination, you are about to embark on one heck of a journey in your lives. What I can tell you for sure today about the next 3 years of your life is that you will make new friends who will become your old friends, your tried and true friends. You will read a lot, you will argue, you will brief, you will discuss, and through all of the process, you will learn to think like lawyers. You'll learn to think like lawyers, very important. What that means is that you will hone your skills of observation. You will develop a deeper understanding of why it matters to carefully observe both the forest and the trees. And when you leave here, you will have an almost instinctive ability to see and to understand and actually appreciate every side of every story. That comes with the perspective that you gain as you become a better observer of the world around you. You will develop the ability to think strategically. What that means in the law is that you develop the judgment that lawyers need to make those hard calls in the moment on your feet. You're going to learn all about every single objection that you can possibly make under the code of evidence. More importantly, you're going to develop the judgment to understand in a given situation which objections you should make and which objections you should let go. They say that judgment comes naturally, and that may be, but what you will learn over the next 3 years is how to exercise good legal judgment. You will also learn to think ethically as an officer of the court. You're not just training for a job, right? Being a lawyer is complicated, and you don't have just one boss. You simultaneously have obligations to your client and to the court, to the justice system, and to the public. Your best argument can only go as far as the law and the evidence will allow you to go. So for example, if you are aware of a case that's not favorable to your client and the other side doesn't bring it up, you have obligation to bring that up to the court. You will come to think about thinking as a discipline of its own. Law school is complicated, but law school is really interesting. I loved law school. Not everybody loves law school, I'll tell you. I loved law school. It's the perfect time to practice thinking about thinking as a discipline. When you think, you plan, you prioritize, you brainstorm, and you analyze. When you set time aside to do those things, you can be more successful for yourself and for the people that you serve. It's a habit that you should take up. It's a skill that you should hone, and it's an art form that you should aspire to. People will always, always, always place demands on your time. You will learn to reserve some of that time for yourself to think. It's so important. So the next 3 years, you will have plenty of time to think about your career path. Am I going to be a prosecutor? Am I going to be a tax lawyer? Whatever it is that you decide to do. Your task right now is not to get your pages mixed up. I should have put numbers on these. That's all right. We'll just go with this. Your job right now is to figure this thing out, right? Over the next 3 years, you will do just that. In the process of doing that, and in the process of learning those skills I just mentioned, you will gain a sense of justice that has absolutely nothing to do with winning or losing, right? The whole world is watching the United States right now. The whole world is watching to see if we're finally going to acknowledge our past, all of our past, and to make changes that should have been made before the Declaration of Independence was ever written. We're having hard conversations about race and justice all over the place. We're having those conversations in our kitchens. We're having them in our offices. We're having them at the Court of Appeals. I hope most of all that you raise hard questions about race and justice in your law school classes, in all of your law school classes. And I hope that as you do that, you will truly listen to what other people have to say when you have those discussions. And I hope that you will treat each other with respect and with kindness as you have those discussions. And I hope that you will permit the questions not to flounder and go unanswered, but instead to seek and to develop real and workable answers to those hard questions. That is your charge. That is your opportunity. And frankly, it's your responsibility. I have the sense as I welcome you here today, you are Oregon Law Class of 2023. I have the sense as I stand here today that you are up for those challenges. And I'm absolutely confident that you will figure this thing out. Finally, I would just ask you at some point, if we're ever permitted, if you want to invite me back, we can meet in person and touch elbows or shake hands or something. But in the meantime, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I feel grateful to have been asked to speak this morning, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge Mooney. We so appreciate you taking time, especially escaping the bench to be with us this morning. Thank you.
Yeah, I can make it back.
Take care. And finally, class of 2023, your 1L mentor, Judge Acosta, that is right, your 1L mentor, Judge Acosta. This means that Judge Acosta is going to be reaching out to you throughout this academic year via email to connect with you. And he wants you to connect back. He's here to support you, to talk with you, to help you. And you should not feel that you have to tell him everything is rosy all the time. It's okay to be real with Judge Acosta. So your 1L mentor, Judge Acosta, is now going to help us through the final step of convocation and administer an oath. Judge Acosta, if you can hear me, yeah, okay, you're unmuted now. Go ahead.
Yes. I had to put on my robe because that's part of this, you know.
Oh, yes.
All right. If each of you would raise your right hands, please, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Nathaniel Correa,
I, John Robert Vandenbach.
Danielson.
I, Molly Eno.
Thomas Albert.
I,
Andrew
Lorenzo.
Andrew Gieber.
Richardson.
I, Sarah Brett.
I, Cameron Schroeder.
Hamilton.
I, Edward Earl.
I, Carson
Carly
Lester.
Clarkson.
I, Christopher Daniels.
I am
Doreen Miles.
I, William Smith.
I, Max Lenz.
I, Shelby Thacker.
Gabby Purnell.
I, Hayden Savaki.
I, Sean Nami.
Emily Rich.
I, Joshua Gandaria.
I, Sierra Alvarez.
I, Tristan Reese.
Freely and upon my honor,
Freely and upon my honor.
do solemnly affirm that
Do solemnly affirm that
I will maintain the highest standards
I will
maintain the highest standards
of academic honesty,
of academic honesty,
personal integrity,
personal integrity,
ethics and professionalism
ethics and professionalism
during my law school career.
during
my law school career.
I will treat all persons
I will treat all persons
with dignity,
with dignity,
respect,
respect,
courtesy,
courtesy,
and fairness.
And fairness.
And honor their worth as individuals
and honor their worth as individuals
without regard to any personal,
without regard to any personal,
cultural,
cultural,
social,
Social.
or economic characteristic or status.
or economic
characteristic
or status.
I will promote respect
I will
promote
respect
for lawyers,
for
lawyers,
the courts,
the courts,
and the legal profession
and the
and the legal profession
while advancing the cause of justice.
while advancing the cause of justice.
And, excuse me,
And
I will strive to be a good citizen
I will strive to be a good citizen
citizen
and provide excellent and accurate work
And provide
excellent and accurate work
to my law school community
to my law
school community,
My law school community,
clients,
clients,
employers, and the organizations I serve.
and the organizations I
serve.
Welcome to the legal profession, everyone.
Yay!
Thank you, Judge Acosta, and welcome, class of 2023. We are so excited you're here, so excited. With that, orientation is concluded. Yay! Virtual cartwheels.
Oh.
Go Ducks, everyone. Throw your O.